Hello, everyone, and welcome to the section which will focus on good practices and examples that were formed as an outcome of different EIT urban mobility activities. My name is Anja Ilenic, and I'm a project manager of the EIT Urban Mobility Risk Hub Slovenia. And today I will be your chairholder moderating the whole section that is ahead of us. Before we start, I would also like to encourage everyone to ask questions to make the session as interactive as possible. And any questions that you might have for the following speakers, they can be indicated in the chat you see on your screen. So the EIT Urban Mobility was established mainly to create and support better living conditions in urban areas, as well as to increase the competitiveness and strengthen the European automotive sector. The challenges that the KIC mainly addresses are connected to the active mobility, intermodality of transport solutions, infrastructure, pollution reduction, promotion of different digital technologies such as artificial intelligence, 5G sensors, and many more. All these challenges are addressed within the 5 programs, including City Club, Academy, Innovation, Business Creation, and Factory. And today, in this section, we will focus on 3 of them. And the first one, Academy, will be presented by the Risk Education Officer at EIT Urban Mobility, Ms. Katarzyna Janos. Ms. Katarzyna Janos holds a PhD degree in urban geography from the University of Leuven. She has done extensive research about urban development and urban mobility in African cities, and she has also worked as an education manager, coordinating EIT labeled master programs financed by the EIT raw materials. In her current role, she is responsible mainly for bringing the education offer of EIT Urban Mobility to risk countries in Southern and Eastern Europe. The project she works on focuses on the topics such as building education ecosystems, university campus mobility, and challenge-based learning for urban mobility. So now I would like to invite Ms. Katarzyna Janos to present the EIT Academy program.
Thank you very much, Anja. So I will share my screen so you can see my presentation here. Is it okay? All right. So hello, everyone. Thank you, Anja, for the introduction. So as Anja mentioned, I work as a Risk Education Officer at EIT Urban Mobility, and maybe some of you don't know what RIS stands for. So RIS is Regional Innovation Scheme, and it's a classification developed by European Commission to see how European countries perform in terms of innovation. So, and the RIS countries are those countries mainly in Southern and Eastern Europe that are still lagging behind a little bit in terms of their innovation capacities. So my role as a RIS Education Officer is to bring this education offer that we have at EIT Urban Mobility to Southern and Eastern European countries so that they can actually improve in terms of their innovation levels. So I'm not sure whether EIT has been already introduced, but maybe very briefly, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology was created by European Commission in 2008. And the idea is basically to strengthen Europe's capability to innovate. And what is very distinct about EIT is that it tries to bring stakeholders from different areas of work. So it integrates the so-called knowledge triangle, meaning the integration between the higher education, business, and research. And EIT works with thematic areas. So here you can see, you're probably aware of different EIT KICs. And we as EIT Urban Mobility are one of the most recently established KICs in 2018, 2019. So Anja has already done an excellent introduction about what EIT Urban Mobility is. So maybe just to sum up, what we do is actually we really try to bring the mobility transition in Europe, meaning that we create more livable urban spaces. So we focus on transportation, but we also focus on places around transportation, places in cities to make people really want to live in cities, to really want to move in cities in an active way, to really want to spend time there. And how do we do it? We do it by three different areas of focus. So we really work on the solutions for mobility and for places, but we are also the network organization, meaning that we bring together stakeholders from different mobility sectors to work together. And we also, finally, we work with cities and the citizens, and they're really at the core of what we do. And we try to learn from them. We work together with them to test and design the solutions that in the end create very livable urban spaces in the cities. And we work as a private organization, but we are funded by the European Commission, and we have received so far 400 million euros from EIT to actually make this transition happen. So we are headquartered in Barcelona, and we have 5 innovation hubs. I'm actually talking to you from Brussels, where we also have the office. And as I said, we are the network organization, meaning that we have more than 100 partners in different European countries, and we bring together partners from different areas of the knowledge triangle. So we have business partners, we have education partners and research, and as well, we work very closely with cities. And this is what Anya already talked about. We have 3 thematic areas, which are called business creation, academy, innovation. And we also have the City Club, which is at the core of what we do. And we also have Factory, which basically scales up the solution that we develop together with our partners. But I'm here representing academies. So what we do in academy, we are closing the knowledge gap. But more precisely, what I like to say is that we are fighting the European university paradox. What does that mean? Is that at the European universities, there is an excellent research, there is an excellent level of research. However, the problem is that rarely this research and these ideas, they rarely make it to the market. They rarely turn into some kind of solutions that are then applied in cities or anywhere else. So here at EIT Urban Mobility Academy, and also in general at EIT Urban Mobility, we really try to create solutions that work in the field. And as Academy, we are working in 3 areas at the moment. So we have EIT Urban Mobility Master School, we have EIT Urban Mobility Doctoral Training Network, and finally, we have the Competence Hub, which is our lifelong learning platform. So I'm gonna introduce you briefly those 3 areas, and maybe if you're interested, you can have a look at our website and see whether that's something that you want to learn more and maybe pursue further in the future, for example, by applying to one of our master programs. So what is it that we do at EIT Urban Mobility Master School? This is, we basically offer 2 master programs. And what is quite interesting is that they are a mix of technical education as well as innovation and entrepreneurship education. And we have 2 at the moment, as I mentioned, so the Sustainable Urban Mobility Transitions. And this is organized in partnership with the universities that you can see on the map with the blue dots. And the second one we have is the Smart Mobility Data Science and Analytics. And this is organized by the universities with the green dots. So as you can see, these are very good universities spread all over Europe. And what your studies will look like if you apply is that you spend 1 year at the entry university, and then for the second year you go to another university. And in the first year you work mainly to develop your technical skills, and then you have the summer school, which is happening in 2 different cities. And this summer school is a very hands-on summer school where you work on the streets, where you work with the city professionals, with the urban planners, to develop some kind of solutions, to work on the challenges that you are assigned to. And then after the summer school, you move to the second year where you learn more about innovation and entrepreneurship, where you also continue with your challenge project that you started in the first year. And most importantly, you work on the master thesis. And as part of the master thesis, there is an internship that is organized within the industry. So you can do the internship with one of our industrial partners, or you can also find it yourself. And at the end of the master program, there is a graduation ceremony, of course, and what you receive is a double degree. So you receive a certificate or the degree from the University of Year 1 and the University of Year 2, and you also receive the EIT label certificate, which confirms that you have done also the courses on innovation and entrepreneurship. So this is what you're going to learn, but it depends on the master program that you're going to take. So I would encourage you to look at the curriculums on our website and see what master program suits better your background and your interests as well. So to sum up, these are the quick facts about our master school. So we have 2 double degrees master programs at the moment, but we are developing more. So please keep an eye on our website. There are tuition fees for each of these master programs. However, we also have scholarships that are available. So if you apply for the master program, you automatically apply for the scholarships, and you receive those scholarships based on the merit, so based on how good your grades are. And then you not only receive the scholarship, but you also receive the reduction in the tuition fees. And we really encourage the students to apply from different backgrounds, because we really want this cross exchange of the ideas happening. So whenever you're studying engineering, computer science, urban planning, geography, anthropology, whatever, you're really welcome to apply and join our master program. So if you look at the application period, soon the first period will be open, or it's already open, to be honest, I'm not very sure. Please check our website. And then there is also a second application period in February 2023, which is mainly for the European students. So you have here our website. Please go and have a look to learn more about the master programs. And this is, so if you already have the master program and you're working on your PhD, you can move to the doctoral training network, which is a very similar idea as the master school. Meaning that you also develop your skills in innovation and entrepreneurship. So as a PhD candidate, you can go to work, to study and work in another European university, which is part of our network, where you will have courses on innovation, entrepreneurship, and also other courses of your choice. And this is very individual program, so you design it together with the university that will host you. And every year there is the annual doctoral forum, and at the end there is also a graduation ceremony. And as I mentioned, this is very much individual, so the duration and your curriculum really depends on what you would like to have there. And finally, we have the academic competence, the competence hub, which is our, as I mentioned before, lifelong learning platform. So if you want to learn more about urban mobility, but you don't know where to look for, this is really a place which compiles a lot of videos, a lot of materials about urban mobility. So we have 3 modules or 3 possibilities to discover urban mobility. So first of all, we have Urban Mobility Explained, and these are very short video from 1 to 10 minutes long, where very simple topics are being explained in a very short way. And it's really nice, I have to say, because my colleagues traveled to many European cities where city practitioners basically showcased their solutions or their case studies. So if you want to learn about different mobility solutions in different European cities, I think this is really a platform for you. So I encourage you to scan the QR code and go to our YouTube channel. And then we have our e-courses. So if you want to deep dive deeper, and if you want to learn more about urban mobility, we have short as well as long e-courses where you learn more about theory, where you learn about trends, challenges, transformation. And these courses are delivered by very high quality experts, city practitioners, urban planners, and so on. And they are very hands-on. So you learn the theory, but you also really learn the applicability of certain solutions. And it's free, and you will get a certificate at the end of the course. And so you can also go to our website, urbanmobilitycourses.eu, where you're gonna find those different courses. And I really encourage you to enroll and to check out our offer, because I do think it's really, really interesting. So Here you can see the website. So there are many different courses on different aspects of urban mobility. They're more technical, more socially oriented, and so on. They're about biking, public transport, really a variety of different courses and different contents that we offer here. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I will be very happy to answer them at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Katarzyna. Thank you for the excellent presentation of what EIT Urban Mobility Academy has to offer. And now from the Academy, we will transition to the next program titled Innovation, which mainly focuses on different breakthrough inventions, which also have a very high market potential. Two of such inventions and active projects will be presented by Andy Handvodopivet, who is Vice President of Business Development at AV Living Lab, based in Ljubljana, Slovenia, which is the largest autonomous, human-centric and real-life testbed in Europe. Andy has worked for several large corporate groups in international business development in Central as well as Eastern Europe, but decided to focus on consultancy and mentorship for advanced tech startups focused on mobility and sustainability products, solutions, and services. He believes that to success, you need both unique and exceptional, but also bold and ambitious, and to forge strong partnerships in reshaping the way we live, work, and move around. And now I would like to invite Andy to briefly present the vision and short-term goals of AV Living Lab, and also two of very successful innovation projects that were funded by the EIT Urban Mobility. Andy, the floor is yours.
Super. Thank you very much, Anya, and lovely to be here on this UNI.MINDS Festival. As Anya said, my name is Andy Handvodopivet. I'm British, but I've lived in Ljubljana for quite some years, and I'm VP of AV Living Lab based in Ljubljana in Slovenia. Now, AV Living Lab is, as it says on the tin, is a living lab, and it's an open ecosystem, human-centric test lab where we do a lot of testing for OEM automotive technology for the future. So we basically test the future's technology today, and this is what we do. But to begin with, I would just like to, it's much easier if I just present you a video as to who we are and what we do. It's a quick 2-minute video, and it will give you a much better understanding as to what we do. And following that, I will introduce and present two use concrete cases that we have done this year and in the past. So let me share the screen with you. Fingers crossed, technology will work.
Breakthrough ideas come to life in Slovenia, the land of fantastic business opportunities, where high-tech pioneers at AV Living Lab develop cutting-edge mobility solutions and test emerging technologies in real environments. As the world's largest city lab for human-centric mobility solutions, AV Living Lab has been connecting industries, advanced technologies, data, and people-rich ecosystems since 2017. Today, when traffic and urbanization are skyrocketing, experts at AV Living Lab are co-creating the mobility of the future, with more than 30 Living Lab projects in the fields of autonomous, connected, electric, and shared mobility.
We are committed to developing new mobility projects for future trend-setting megacities. Our Living Lab, we even call it City as a Lab, serves as a testbed for building partner ecosystems that allow for the co-creation of new mobility solutions. We are proud to work with the best mobility and tech companies like Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, Google, Magna, Toyota, Volkswagen concern, and many more. We are taking our work to the next level with the launch of AI Driving Hub in Dubai. It includes multiple simulators that will help improve driving experience, contribute to sustainable mobility, lower traffic congestion, and create a zero-accident society.
By building ecosystems and organizing industry events, AV Living Lab has found a new approach to creating partnerships and positioned itself as the new global mobility think tank. With creative ideas that combine data and sustainable solutions, it drives innovation, improves lives, and makes cities much more accessible and easier to live in. By being green, creative, and smart, AV Living Lab is an example of the forward-looking Slovenian economy and one of its valued ambassadors. Break new ground in Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it.
Thank you. I hope that was clear. And as I mentioned, AV Living Lab, we test those solutions with regional cross-industry partners, so that we can really test the international R&D centers and all the other companies that are really providing very, very good solution under the umbrella of mobility and sustainability. So I would like now to present one of those POCs, let's say proof of concepts and pilots that we did very recently. And it's called IPA2X. It's Intelligent Pedestrian Assistance, and it's a unique crossing, autonomous robotic crossing system that we tested. So bear with me, and I will share. So as you can see, the Intelligent Pedestrian Assistant, it's all about safer crossing, especially for kids and the elderly. Now, between 2010 and 2018, there were around 52,000 people were killed. Pedestrians were killed on the roads. This is a huge number. This is pre-pandemic. Last year, it rose to about 3,690, I believe. And this is a vast amount of people being killed. So under the mobility umbrella, a unique system was developed to aid and to help all the elderly, those people with disabilities, and especially in front of schools. And what it is, it's a robotic, I will come to this later. It's in fact 2 meters 10. It's autonomous, and you place it in front of the zebra crossings. And with its GPS system and its LiDAR at the top, it can actually calculate and detect vehicles from both left and right. It doesn't detect the people walking. It detects the speed, the motion, and the direction of cars. And then it will detect the speed. And if it's safe to do so, it will actually move in front across the road and stop the vehicle. So it's actually, its purpose is really pedestrian safety, the increased mobility of vulnerable groups, reduce CO2 emissions, promote mobility, and also to be integrated in newly designed urban solutions, and as well as lowering the cost of local police, or as we call them in the UK, lollipop ladies, who help the kids cross the road. So it's a unique design. It's the first of its kind, and it was actually cooperated and collaborated with an international research group. Namely, the actual testing and the living labs was done at AV Living Lab in Slovenia, the commune of Milano, who were testing primarily the school children, and also the commune of Modena, who were also doing school children. The test phase in Ljubljana was over one morning, where we tested, or we invited 30 elderly people to in real life use the system, test the system, and also get some feedback from them as to how they enjoyed, or any feedback, negative or positive, from the system. And a vast majority, all of them, thought it was a great idea. It really brought the safety aspect, but also brings acceptance of robots, let's say, and autonomy to real life. So it was a very, very good POC. And what the best was, I think for us, was to understand that it was a very regional, international research confederation. So we had the Technical University of Munich, who were the leaders. Then we had AMAT from Italy, Czech Technical University in Prague. Then we had certain companies building the actual units, so Evidence and LifeTouch. And then Hypert, who are the R&D arm of UNI.MINDS University in Modena, one of the leading autonomy, mobility, automotive universities in the world, as well as the big corporates, so Skoda were also heavily involved from the Czech Republic. So it was an excellent collaboration and partnership to implement not only a unique solution, but also to make that solution acceptable and understandable to the general public, because this is one of the big, let's say, challenges, is to make the public understand how this new technology not only works, but how it can benefit their everyday life. So, and the art, let's say, our major challenge, as we're all trying to do here, is to make mobility not only safe, but affordable, cost-effective, and for everybody to use. So again, these are some of the project partners that were involved, and I think an excellent example, the first excellent example of what a unified vision can do, both corporate, both government, and with good funding, for example, also of course from EIT. So coming back, this was the first of our POCs. The second was equally as good, and it's called CEVES, which in fact the role is to use second-hand car batteries as an energy storage system. And I will present you CEVES. Just bear with me one moment. So as you can see here, CEVES, it's the second life of EV batteries. Now, again,
sorry, Andy, can you just put the presentation in full screen mode?
I beg your pardon?
Can you just put the full screen mode on presentation? Just
yeah, just bear with me a second. Yeah. Is that better? Is that okay?
Something is lagging. Let's maybe try again with restarting the share screen.
Hang on, let me start that again. Just bear with me one sec. Something's not right there. Is that any better?
Excellent.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, so second life of EV batteries. If you consider that there's going to be 145 million electric cars by 2030, all requiring batteries weighing between 200 and 400 kilos, that means there's going to be about 12 million tons of lithium-ion batteries lying around. And when you consider that most automotive OEMs will actually throw the battery away if it's below 70% capacity, then it's no good for the car. So we'll have all these batteries sitting there that have actually got still 70% of their storage capacity used. So with Skoda leading this excellent project, what we've gone and done is we've created, that's a bit of a lag, we've created a storage system in a confined unit, enabling fast charging and destination charging for local residents in urban areas with insufficient grid connection. What this means that this is purely a storage system that can be put anywhere. It's very modular, it's very flexible, and doesn't necessarily always have to be linked to the grid. So it can actually be placed in very, very remote parts. And it uses all the batteries for the second life used from the vehicles. So really, how does it work? So as I said, we've got all these batteries lying around. So if you imagine the warranty is 8 years for 160,000 kilometers, there's going to be between 145 to 150 million cars by 2030. Then the idea or the challenge of this pilot is actually to reuse those batteries as a second life and to put them as a storage energy in a unit. So we take all those batteries, but also added to that, we enclose it in a completely circular loop system. So once that the battery in the second life has actually finished as well, it will be recycled. Now, when you consider that the car batteries contain some of the most precious and scarce and rare metals in the world, and actually are a quarter of the cost of any vehicle, it's highly, highly useful or a must to recycle all the material. So 90% of that material can then be recycled and then pushed back through to the loop to the battery production by the big gigafactories. Excuse me. So it's a complete circular loop to extend the life cycle of the batteries. And in that, what we can do is why we're doing it. As I said, a massive increase in the upcoming years in battery, a big demand for batteries, a big demand for scarce raw materials. We want to extend and prolong the life cycle of the battery, and it's all down to CO2 reduction. We want a low emissions, reduction of the CO2 footprints, and support of the charging infrastructure, because the electrification, everything will be electric, and it's all going to be based on batteries. Yes, there will also be some hydrogen, but most of it will be batteries. So it's 100% focused on batteries and how to get the best out of batteries and prolong the life of those batteries. And again, as I said before, an actually efficient and controlled and put in place recycling process, not just, yeah, some kind of recycling. This will be a dedicated recycling process with a lot of companies pouring a lot of money into taking the whole things apart. It's not an easy job, but it's also very, very costly. So, and that's why Škoda will also be running and will be behind this to really extract battery grade material for then the reproduction, and also is a great solution for EU legislative challenges and EU laws. So this is the idea behind it. Now, here on the left, you can see the actual unit itself. So all those old car batteries will be put into a unit. It's completely safe. It's completely air conditioned. It is linked to the grid, but you don't have to power it to the grid. It can also be powered by solar. It can also be powered by wind. So it's an integrated system. You can integrate it with many different areas of different electrical phases, and it will store that energy as long as you want it for whatever purpose you want it. So in places where technically it's difficult to build EV charging stations, or to build a grid, or to build a big power cable, or it's mountainous, or it's remote, this is a very good solution that will, again, will impact and push and develop the electrification and EV charging stations, which is exactly what everyone wants. So the one unit will have a capacity storage of 300 kilowatt hours and power up to 210 kilowatts. So what does that mean? In fact, what it means, you can actually charge around 12 cars simultaneously on a low output charger, on a low AC, or you can have one very high powered 150 kilowatts DC charger. So what are the use cases? I mean, what can we actually do? What's the purpose of this? I mean, it's various. But one of the very good things is it's for peak shaving. What that means is when you have outages and peaks in power supply, it can actually stabilize not only the power supply, for example, to an industry or to a company, which in case it does have an outage or a volatile electric system, it can actually regulate that. But can also, what is also very good is it can actually, you can modify the high and low tariff. So you can actually use the energy when there's a peak in tariff, let's say during the day. Here you can actually use it whenever during the night. So it gives a very good indication as to a tariff efficiency of the system. So time of usage optimization, I would say, is really good. So you have a very good backup source of energy. It's there whenever you need it. So that's also very, very, very ideal, not only for industry, but it can be used for the home, but also for electrical charging. So it has 3 different channels of usage. It has economic benefits, cost saving, and sustainable benefits as well. As I said, peak shaving, peak sharing, self-sufficient as well. So, and with reserved power input optimization. So the system really is very clever, very unique, and is highly efficient. So the partners that were also involved, again, EIT Urban Mobility, we had PRI from the Czech Republic, an energy company, we had the Brno University, we had LEAF, we had AV Living Lab, we had Škoda as well. So again, a great array and joining together of international companies to provide something that can be really, really useful, really valuable in the future. So I believe these are the two really excellent optimized POCs and pilots that have been done by AV Living Lab with all the other partners, with the aim of becoming really, really efficient in our energy usage, which I think we all know we all need. So I would like to thank you very much for your time, and I will hand you back to Anya.
Thank you, Andy. And yes, I agree indeed that these are very good examples and very good pilots, which are luckily also where Slovenia is also luckily a part of. And now I would like to switch to the last program of today's agenda, which is the Business Creation Program, which aims to become the reference in the market for supporting and funding gender-balanced startups within the urban mobility sector. And one of those outstanding examples from Slovenia is also the startup named Flex Performance, a company which combines motorsport and aviation engineering knowledge for the next level urban electric motorcycle enthusiasts. And their journey will be presented by Mr. Marko Ukota, who is a CEO and co-founder of Flex Performance. So Marko, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Anya. Let me share the screen and get this going. All right. Can everybody see it okay? I suppose yes. All right. So let me introduce who we are and what we do. We are Flex Performance. I'm Marko, co-founder, motorcycle racer and engineer. I've been in love with motorcycles ever since that first ride 20 years ago on my grandpa's moped. I jumped into racing and reached the world championship, and my love for tech led me to build an electric prototype as a student. Batteries have come a very long way since then, but the problems of gas-powered bikes actually keep getting worse. They are very expensive to maintain, and the work takes quite some time and skill. And they are also very loud, so you as a rider can't go anywhere without bothering everyone within a 2-kilometer radius. You would say electric motorcycles are the obvious solution, but the issue is all the bikes available on the market today are much slower than competing gas bikes. Our rider Joe he works hard and he enjoys riding a motorcycle, and he will not spend his hard-earned money for something that is inferior just because climate activists told him it's the right thing to do. Greta Thunberg cannot reach riders like Joe, but we can. Introducing the Flex Primo, a no-compromise electric motorcycle that has superior performance to any gas-powered competitor on the market, while retaining comparable weight and the riding characteristics Joe expects from his bike. It's not a choice between mean and green anymore. Our aim is to make the electric motorcycle the easy choice instead of just a sacrifice for the environment. It's up to us to invent better solutions, not to expect the market to adapt by force. From this platform, also an urban bike emerges. The lessons learned in off-road transfer to the urban jungle, yielding a bike similar to an SUV. The high riding position means you have a great view of your surroundings and are more likely to be seen. The off-road capable suspension means no pothole or speed bump creates a dangerous situation. And all-terrain capability means that urban, suburban, and rural roads become a walk in the park. This, of course, is not easy. We have to make development strides in 4 key areas, but it can be done. The good news is the technology is not limited to just our current motorcycle. It's applicable to other motorcycle models as we expand, and to other light electric vehicles as well. We're practically becoming an electric propulsion technology company that sells motorcycles. We are from Slovenia. This small country has a great blend of capable engineers and lower cost of living. The ability to produce world-leading brands is proven by entrepreneurs like Akrapovic, the world leader in exhaust systems, and of course, AV Living Labs just before me. And the strength of the automotive sector is proven by the fact that 20% of our exports are from the automotive industry, and not a single car is produced in Europe without at least one component being made in Slovenia. We are ripe to produce big new players powered by the green revolution. Hardware is, as the name suggests, hard. You might think we are crazy to start a capital-intensive startup here, where VC funding is historically low, and you're probably right. But another crazy startup called Rimac also believed in the impossible. Today, they are a huge player in the electric car technology industry, and they pushed Croatia to the third place in Central Eastern European region for VC funding this year, which is a great testament to the untapped potential of this often overlooked region. This brings us to EIT. Our journey with them started in the Jumpstarter program. Here, mentors gave us insights into the economic considerations of structuring our startup idea. We were one of the 6 finalists of over 50 startups. These insights were validated when we applied for the Slovenian Startup Business Plan competition. We won first prize, awarding us some funds and some one-on-one mentor meetings. These, together with the efforts of the Slovenian Enterprise Fund, helped us put together the budget to build our MVP, our first prototype. Going forward, after we release the prototype, we're going to raise our seed round. Programs like the Urban Mobility Startup Investment might be a great tool towards that goal. Let me be clear, no amount of mentors can replace the ability to invest in tools, buy materials, and hire talented engineers. In Europe, we like to analyze and discuss the technological gap, but one can just take a look at the gap in risk capital. We've been a long way off from China and especially the US. We have old institutions, and our risk-averse conservative mentality is costing us opportunities in new industries. In recent years, there seems to have been a very positive growth trend, so we are starting to understand the urgency to catch up. Robert Arnold said, investing in what is comfortable is rarely profitable. With the conservative mindset of EU investors, institutions and programs like the EIT could help bridge the gap in early stage companies and reduce the chicken and egg problem we face. This global transition towards sustainable energy is a huge challenge, but also a huge opportunity. And I believe together we can build a Europe that is at the forefront of this movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Marko. Thank you for a very excellent presentation and also pointing out how EIT Urban Mobility took a very small part in your total career leading. And now I would like to invite all of the panelists to join me on the stage, on this digital stage. And still, I encourage everyone, we still have 15 minutes. If you have any questions for Andy, Katarzyna, or Marko, please state them. But until then, maybe I would like to firstly ask Katarzyna. You have mentioned that the EIT Urban Mobility Academy program mainly fights the European University paradox. And I would like to ask you, what is the main difference that distinguishes the EIT master labeled programs from the master programs that are already available to the students at, for example, Slovenian universities or European universities in general? If you can elaborate a bit.
Sure, thanks, Anya, a lot. So I explained that this European university paradox means that we have excellent research and excellent technical knowledge at our European universities, but we are very often lacking translation of this knowledge into some kind of solutions, into some kind of ideas that are then implemented in the cities, implemented in the field. So what our master programs do, they not only educate students in terms of technical knowledge, but there is also a very strong emphasis on innovation and entrepreneurship. So our students in the master programs, they really learn how to build their own company, how to create and implement certain ideas and solutions, how to make a business plan, how to work together with investors and partners. This is all part of the curriculum. So they get this technical knowledge where they can develop something, but then we also teach them how they actually bring the product to the market, which I think is very unique and very, very valuable. And we see that there are startups emerging from our graduates after they finish the program. So I think that's a very, very distinctive characteristics of what we offer as an academy.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And like in all programs of the EIT Urban Mobility, the value of bringing a product to the market is essential, also in innovation. And I would like to turn to Andy with this statement in mind. Both of your projects or the pilots were very ambitious. So also the intelligent pedestrian systems, as well as the recycling of the technology for the recycling of the e-batteries. But how exactly do you plan to achieve, let's say, the very general social acceptance for the general public to accept the artificial technology? Because I believe this is very crucial to market these innovations in a very real environment. So yes, my question is, how do you plan to confront and tackle this issue?
Yeah, great question, Anya, and a difficult one to answer, unfortunately, so I don't think there's a silver bullet for that one. I'm a believer, it's not how good you are, it's how good you should be. And I think we need to be a lot better in not only the solutions that we bring or that we're developing, but it's how we communicate those solutions. If you imagine at the beginning of the internet, when people said internet, it was, in my view, very badly communicated, very badly understood. It was all complex, it was all technology, when in fact it was very, very simple. So I believe we need to look at the psychology of it, and because we've got all this crazy, brilliant ideas, great solutions, but how to get that public acceptance, I think, is two ways. The communication, I think, has to be much clearer, much wiser, much more down to earth, much more concrete, much easier for people to understand. Because as soon as you mention technology, they kind of run away a bit and say, and run the other way, and the barrier goes up. So let's just try and make it a bit milder. Let's try and make it a bit more simple. And yes, bring part of the technology in, but make a story of it. And I think that will be a very long-term process. And I think it's what we're doing today and now that will actually add each brick of that foundation to make it easier for people to accept what we and everybody else is trying to do. So I think the communication part is very, very important. I think the media part is very important, but also it's a step-by-step approach. We can't do it overnight. Autonomous vehicles won't be around for the next 10, 15 years. Sorry, but they won't. So I think we've got to be realistic in what's going on. So I think we've got that time to prepare ourselves and to really put a really good plan, both at corporate level, but at government level, and at European level and the global level, how to really communicate all this new technology, all these autonomous vehicles, all these robots, all these AI machines all over the place. It's that for me is the key, and I think that's the only way we're going to manage it. And I hope history doesn't repeat itself, and that we kind of really make a hash of it from new technology that came 30 years ago, and that we learn from our lessons and just make it a seamless and very easy just to introduce it, show how it works, and get everyone to use it as quickly as possible.
Yes, I completely agree that like the communication is I'd say the stepping stone for all the further innovation that we want to implement in the real environment. But maybe a follow-up question for you would be, so the EIT Urban Mobility funding mostly focuses on the innovations that are on the technology, which is on the technology readiness level around 6, which means this is a prototype which has been validated in the relevant environment. But how exactly do you, maybe you have already discussed, like in terms of both of the pilots that you have presented, how and with which funding do you plan to achieve this breakthrough of the innovation and possible very global commercialization of both of the both of the inventions that were mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's exactly what AV Living Lab is trying to do. It's trying to accelerate, well, it is accelerating these ideas for then global deployment and global acceptance. And the quicker that's done, the better. So we are a test bed for not only corporates, but all kinds of cross-industry companies who really want to test and to make sure that it does work and go global. Then the more global you are, the more people accept it. But I think that funding has to be a mixture of both governments and corporate at the same time. So the big players, the really big OEMs, I won't mention any names, but the really big guys, they need to start funding, they need to accelerate, they need to start really testing this stuff, and also to incorporate it into their corporate policy and their corporate scope of new digital, of new innovation, of which they're doing very, very well. You know, all the big OEMs, automotives, all the big providers, all the very big players, they've all got an innovation center, an innovative this, a digital this. So it is happening. We just need to accelerate that funding, both on the corporate side, but also the government. We also need the government, the European EIT, really to get together and actually make it happen. As they say, talk is cheap. Action is needed, but that action can also be very, very costly if it's not done in the right way. So we all, as I said before, we all need to get together. We all need to join the dots, who's doing what and how. And events like this clearly makes us understand who is doing what at what level to accelerate that innovation, to fund it, because it will cost big money. It has to. So we all need to sit down and fund that in the best way possible for everyone to partake and to get a piece of the cake, and everyone to use the technology that is a brilliant technology that's out there.
I completely agree, and also I agreed with the statement that also Marco said, that like the higher risk investments are crucially needed also within the startup sector. And Marco, maybe I would like to ask you, like you have been in the motorcycle, field for the past 20 years, as you have indicated. And I would like to ask if you can briefly elaborate on maybe what was the most challenging part in your professional career and how did you overcome this issue? Also in terms of the investments, and how do you see that, so maybe the national decision makers, also private ones, should turn to encourage these solutions also from the Slovenian startups?
Okay, yeah. So the biggest challenges we are facing at this moment are purely technical. So at the whole beginning, I guess the challenge was to get an initial budget going, and there were honestly no real opportunities available to us on some kind of a national or private level. So basically, we footed the bill as the founders. And once we got over that initial hurdle and we had some more concrete things to show, then we were able to access tools like the P2 program in the Slovenian Enterprise Fund, which we have been awarded this year for a 54,000 euro basically grant to make your prototype. Going forward, a huge challenge will be the seed round, as I mentioned in the presentation, because now the MVP is a proof of concept is relatively easy, to say it loosely. The next step would be the production motorcycle, and that basically requires a lot of new technological solutions to be developed. We have singular concepts going already on the MVP, but the key is a holistic approach, so that you are not kind of taking things off the shelf and combining them together, or having a whole net of, let's say, solution providers that you try to integrate and that don't really communicate with each other. We want to have a holistic approach where we in-house basically design the whole motorcycle from the ground up. to be the best electric motorcycle possible without any patchwork, because that's the only way that you can really be competitive. What I would say on the national and international level, bureaucracy is an issue that should be addressed, and flexibility, where small startups don't have legal teams available. They don't have an army of administrative assistants on hand like the big companies. So keeping them to the same bureaucratic standards as the big players is a big hindrance. And also in terms of getting outside investors from the rest of Europe, and especially from the US, we have quite a rigid legislative system where a lot of standardly accepted term sheets are not applicable to Slovenian law. And if they would be available, that would of course de-risk entry to, let's say, US-based investors, and I think that would bring quite a lot more possibilities to Slovenian startups to access capital from abroad, and of course bring it to Slovenia and fund Slovenian jobs, fund Slovenian suppliers, and so on.
Yeah, thank you. And do you maybe see how, like, for example, you have mentioned also RIMAT, which is like one of the very much successful companies in producing racing e-cars. How maybe like these kind of bigger or like successful startup companies can be helpful to you, and maybe when do you see that your company will achieve this, or if ever?
Sure. Well, yeah, the goal is to be the Rimac of two wheels, of course. Whether we achieve it or not, we'll see in the future. But yeah, companies like Rimac's prove they serve as a great proof point. Where before maybe you talk to an outside investor, he doesn't know the region very well, and he says, well, nothing's going on there, you know, how are you going to get engineers, how are you going to get people to do something? So a company like Rimac is a great way of saying, look, it's possible. Obviously the talent is there, obviously there is still a lot of potential to make something, even though you have a world filled with automotive conglomerates and giants. And one looking from outside could say 10 years ago that what are you going to do that the Renault group or Volkswagen group is not going to do? Well, obviously there's still a lot of leeway, and the motorcycle industry is 7 to 10 years behind the automotive industry, because in one way for motorcycles to adapt, it's harder because the weight is a factor and the volume is a factor for batteries, and also because with motorcycle basically the whole company is a motor building company. So if you go and throw the motor away, they can basically throw out 80% of their workforce and their supply chains, their patents, their know-how, etc. So for them, transitioning is extremely hard, and they are fighting back quite hard in the background. So I think it's a great opportunity for startups to come without baggage to basically disrupt the market.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we have only 1 minute left, so maybe we are like to wrap it up. I would like you maybe to just like briefly in one sentence describe how maybe the collaboration between academia and research as well as industry can be more how to say extended and more encouraged in the future, because we are still on the UNI.MINDS conference, which is the basic of connecting all the 3 sectors. So maybe Katarzyna, just a concluding remark.
Thanks, Anya. Well, I like to say that education is where everything starts. So you know, you first need an education, and then you're gonna further develop your solutions and work together with academia and business to really bring it to the market and to really make a change. But I believe, first of all, you need an education. So that's my message. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Andy? You are muted, so maybe you can turn on the...
Very quickly, yeah, spot them early, scout them early, and once you've scouted them, mentor them and develop them. Don't just use them, but really put them through a system where you understand both the technology, whether the physicist, chemist, but also the commercial side, because for me the commercial side is often missing, and then it's too late, and then somebody copies your idea. So scout, pick, and then really perform and talent mentor them.
Thank you. And Marco, your last words.
Yes, I agree with Andy on being early, and I would like industry to work with academia on as early as possible, so that students can work on actual problems instead of some theoretical frameworks. And there you can spot talent, and you can groom them, and you can build them into great professionals to hire them.
Yes, I agree with you all that like combining both is crucial for further inventions. And I would like to thank you all three for your time and for excellent presentations, as well as your general remarks on the topic. And I would also like to thank you, the audience, for participating in our section. And in case you have any further questions for any of the speakers, you can always reach out, and we hope to collaborate on some other activities in the future. Thank you and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.